Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be discussing Spooky2 Central. Let me just share my screen. Cool. So what am I going to be discussing today? So firstly, I'm going to start with an introduction, just a bit about me. Then I will be talking a little bit about Spooky2 background information, who invented Rife, and then I'll be discussing different types of treatment. And then I will be discussing Spooky2 Central and plasma applications, and then hardware connection, so how to connect up your central, and then software operation and programs to use, how to check if your central is working, and reasons your central might not be working. Then I will talk a bit about the Phanotron versus the straight tube, which one to get, near field and far field. I'll then talk a bit about frequency wobble and things to avoid doing with central. Okay, so introduction, a bit about me. I am a naturopath and a naturopathic nutritionist. I'm also a Reiki practitioner and a biomagnetism practitioner, and I practice functional medicine, and I specialise in the gut, the liver and Lyme disease. My Spooky2 story. So I started using Spooky2 I think it was about 2-3 years now, maybe 2 years. And I was really ill. I was really ill. I was at uni and I just became so ill. I was bedbound and I had to take pretty much every day off uni. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was just so ill. I had about 70 symptoms. Honestly, I had a crazy amount of symptoms. I was only 18, 19. And, you know, it took me about a year to figure out what was wrong with me, jumping from about 20 doctors and specialists and no one knowing, and then finally finding a naturopath who did some tests on me and discovered that, you know, I had Lyme disease, I had co-infections, I had fungus and mold toxicity, I had autoimmune thyroid, I had, my kidneys were failing, and lots of stuff was wrong with me. But finally I had a diagnosis and I tried so many different treatments. I tried nutrition, I tried Reiki, I tried oxygen chamber, I tried, so many different things, and it all worked, but to an extent. And then I stumbled across a practitioner who used Spooky2 Rife, and I tried it for a week. She gave me her machine to use for a week, and within that week I saw so much improvement. I was actually really shocked. Like within a week, I mainly used it for parasites, and I saw loads of crazy stuff come out, and some improvement with my digestive problems. So I went and got myself one, and yeah, I used it religiously, and I still do use it quite religiously every day for about 2 years. And it's got me to where I am today, being, I'd say I'm healthy and I can live my life again. And yeah, I'm back. I went back to uni, so that was good. And yeah, I used the contact mode basically because I couldn't afford anything else really. I just had the contact mode and the XM. I used that every day for 2 years. Now I have the remote and I have the central. So I use those as well. I mainly use the remote because it's less time consuming. So if you don't have a lot of time, if you're a student, then remote, or you don't have a lot of money, yeah. And why I became a Spooky2 practitioner, just because I want to share with people that there is a way to get better, like I did, not just through medication, but through this incredible way of healing that's really unheard of. And a lot of people, whenever I mention Rife, my friends are like, what's that? What's that? But yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so Who invented Rife? Where did Rife come from? So Royal Raymond Rife, he was an American inventor, and he discovered what we know today as the Rife machine. And what he did is he used these microscopes, as you can see in this picture here, to identify pathogens. He put them here, and then he used these beam rays to kill them through vibration and frequency. And how does that work? So it's resonance-based shattering. So if you think of an opera singer shattering a glass, that's how it works. She's singing, she's hitting that high frequency, and it shatters the glass. And it's said that every living organism has a specific frequency which it resonates at. So if we match that frequency that the organism resonates at, we match that with a Rife frequency, we can shatter it and we can kill it without harming us, because we don't resonate at that frequency, just that organism does. It's also, organs also resonate at frequencies, different frequencies. And these frequencies can lower when they're not functioning optimally. So what we do with Rife is we help to raise the organ's frequency to match the frequency that it optimally functions at. So we can heal those organs, we can detoxify those organs. What can Spooky2 treat? So Spooky2 facilitates the death of mold, whether that's in your home, so you're using it in the walls of your home, or if you're using it within yourself, mold toxicity, fungus, bacteria, viruses, parasites, all things that can cause disease. But mainly what causes disease is a unhealthy terrain. So of course we can use the Rife to detoxify the body and to let the body heal, which is the most important thing. And I'll discuss this in a minute, but that's, you should be doing the terrain program before doing any killing. So different forms of treatment, we have the plasma and the central, which I'll be discussing today. Now, this is the strongest form of treatment, and it's ideal for cancer, or maybe if you have Lyme disease. And then the contact kit includes contact pads, hand cylinders, the contact kit, and the internal electrode. So you've got a different variation that you can pick from. These are ideal for biofeedback scans, mainly the contact pads. And then we have remote, which uses DNA to treat from a distance. So you could literally be halfway across the world and be treating someone, across the other half of the world. We've then got YouTube audio. So if you can't afford Rife, you don't know where to begin, you can just Google Spooky2 Rife frequencies, and you'll get a whole bunch of a list come up, and you listen to them for about 20 minutes because that's the optimal time. We've then got the PEMF coil, the scalar, and the cold laser. So the Spooky2 Central application, what comes with the Spooky2 Central? So we've got the Phanotron and the straight tube. So this is the Phanotron tube. I'll show you both and their functions a bit later on. We've then got the PEMF coil, this here, and that just stands for pulsed electromagnetic fields. And what it does is it uses a fixed frequency of 100 hertz, and it stresses pathogens with pulses of magnetic energy. We've then got contact mode. These just shows the contact kit, but you could also attach the hand cylinders if you want, or the contact kit. So yes, and I just put a note here saying that it's perfectly normal if you don't feel anything when using contact mode, because I know that if you use contact mode individually, you probably might feel some vibrations, but it's normal if you don't feel vibrations using the central, because 320 volts is fired out for less than half of a millisecond. So this is a really short, intense time, which is absolutely, devastating for viruses, bacteria, and parasites, but it's harmless to us because it's so quick. Then we've got the ultrasonic, as shown here, and what this does is just a good way to flood the entire body with frequencies. So we are actually 70% water, therefore sound waves travel really well in our body. And just a side note, for the 70% water, you want to be drinking a lot of water while you're using your Spooky2 Central to help conduct the electricity and also to flush out any toxins. Now you can run each of these applications separately. So you might, maybe one day you just might want to use the PEMF coil, that's fine. Maybe one day you just want to use the Phanotron tube, that's fine. But you can use them all together if you want that enhanced result. So maybe if you have cancer, you definitely maybe want to be using the whole lot. Okay, so how to connect your hardware. I've just written this if anyone wants to take a picture of it, but I'm going to show you a video of how to connect it because I think that might be easier. So let me just... Okay, so I'll just be speaking over the video. So again, this is how you set up your Spooky2 Central. So you would first do the PEMF coil and you would take that into the coil outlet port as shown in the picture. You would then connect the TENS pads or, you know, your hand cylinders or contact kit to the cable. And the other side of the TENS cable to the audio cable that's provided with your central kit. You would then just plug the audio cable into the contact outlet port of the central. Yeah, she said you can use the other contact accessories too. That's absolutely fine. But contact pads just might be a bit easier. Then you would connect the ultrasonic head to the ultrasonic cable provided, and you would just twist it, rotating it so that it's tight and secure and it won't come loose. And then just taking the other end of the cable and putting it in the ultrasonic outlet port of the central. Then we're going to connect up our generator. So this example is the XM, but you can use the generator X. So taking the XM, taking the BNC filter cables and connecting out one. And then you would take the other end of out one and put it into the input port of the central. So out one goes with input. It's labeled, so you probably won't forget it. And then you're just going to rotate it so that it's tightly secure and won't come loose. Taking the other BNC filter cable, so we're now taking out two, plugging it into out two of the XM generator, making sure that's secure, and then taking the other end and putting it into the modulation ports as labeled, and then you just rotate it so it's secure. There we go. So then lastly, you just want to connect the Spooky2 generator to the computer, and this time you use the USB filter cable, not the BNC, USB filter cable. So just plugging that into the USB port and then plugging it into your computer at the other end. And then you're just going to plug in the socket into the generator and then into the plug socket. Next, you're going to set up your tube. So you're going to take the white wires, as you can see, connected to the tube, and just plug them into the outlet port, both of them. Next, you want to connect the power plug to an electric outlet. So just plugging in the central and then plugging it into a power socket, which should be a different power socket from the one the generator's plugged into. And there we go. Then you would just turn on your generator and set up your software, which I will discuss in a moment. Okay, back to presentation. Okay, so just to know, once you've set up your central, you want to make sure the white high voltage wires, so as shown in this picture, and the plasma tube and the Spooky Central are as far away from the generator and its power supply as possible. You know, if either the high voltage cable of the tube or the tube itself is close to the power supply, the generator might lock up and it won't work. So you can see here, this is far away from the central, and the central is far away from the generator and the computer, and they're both in two different power supplies. So the cable from the 5 volts power adapter acts as an aerial. It picks up signals from the Spooky Central, so you need to ensure the adapter is plugged into a different mains socket outlet. You use these special USB and BNC filter cables provided with your Spooky Central, and if you don't have the BNC filter cables, then you can purchase them from Spooky2, and hopefully they'll label them for you. I've done that a couple times, but if not, you can label them yourself. So as you can see here, it's as far away as possible. So software operation. So this is just a basic overview of how you're going to operate the software. So you would first select your preset. You would then choose a program. You would then click generator, overwrites generator, select the generator you want to use and click start. And if the preset already has a program, you would skip number 2 and just do select preset, overwrites generator, select your generator and click start. So I'm just going to show you what programs to use and how to do that. So I've got a list here. We've got the terrain program to run. Now this is recommended to run before any killing, any biofeedback, anything. You want to prepare your body and make sure that you are super prepared for any killing that you'll be doing, and yeah, just prepare your body. I made the mistake of not doing that. I went straight into the killing. I went straight into the biofeedback scans. And I really regret it because it made me more sick, really bad herx reactions, headaches from hell. And then as soon as I started using the detox, things got better. So learn from my mistakes. You can also run biofeedback scan results. You can't actually do biofeedback scans, but say you do them on with contact mode, you can then run your results with the central. You can also do some healing, some killing, and then there's miscellaneous with a couple of programs, heal, frequency sweeps, and then you've got the modulins and Lyme protocol and the cancer protocol. So I'll show you. I'm not going to discuss the cancer protocol. I feel like that needs a whole presentation, but I'll show you briefly how to do the others. Just going to share my screen. I just seen that someone's mentioned breast cancer. Yeah, Penny's answered that for me, but I just side note, my mum had breast cancer and she used the plasma and the plasma and the contact pads, and her lump shrank within 3 weeks. It was amazing because she was so skeptical, and you know, I was convincing her to use it. She only used it about 2-3 times a week for about an hour, and her lump actually shrank when she went back to get a rescan. So yeah, I was really happy about that. So stay positive. Okay, so programs to use. So we're going to start with the terrain. So you would select detox. You would then select plasma. And then you've got a whole list of programs to use here. So I think personally you would want to start with the top one and then make your way down. So you would start with the cleanse blood, just selecting cleanse blood, going to control, selecting overwrites generator, select the generator you want to use. And then you can see it comes up here, cleanse blood, cleanse blood. Now these, the detox presets come with a program, so you don't need to worry about selecting a program. And then literally once you're all set up, you will just click start. And obviously making sure that you've selected the right generator and it's not, you know, another one that's on remote or something. And there we go, you can see it's running and you can see things are happening. So if you want to just pause your program, that's absolutely fine. Say you want to go grab a drink or need the toilet, you can just click pause and come back to it when you want. That's absolutely fine. Or if you've got halfway through, you're feeling a bit headachy or something, you can just stop it. That's fine, and you can come back to it another day. Say you've done 180 up to 735, you can just select 735 the next day and click start if you've already clicked stop and pick up from where you left off. That's fine. And then, you know, the next day or whenever you finish that, you would come back and you would select the next one, so intestinal parasites. Again, control, overwrite generator, select your generator, and there you have it. Just click start and off you go. You might want to skip a couple, not recommended, but let's say you want to, you can just select 35 and pick up from there. So that's absolutely fine. It is actually recommended to do the terrain program with contact mode or with remote, and then use the central for more killing and more that sort of side. But you can still run it with central. So next up, let's say you want to run your biofeed. You've done a biofeedback scan. You've done your terrain. Now you've done a biofeedback scan and you want to run the results. So you would go to shell empty presets. You would select plasma. And then you would click Spooky Plasma Advanced. I know there's an update of this software. It says Spooky Central Advanced. So that's fine. That's the same thing. But if you have my version, Spooky Plasma Advanced, you would then just go to programs and type in the program. So you might have saved it as your name. And then you'll have a biofeedback scan come up. You just select that. Go to control, overwrite generator, select the generator. And here you can see Spooky Plasma Advanced, and then you've got your program here. You've got your desired frequencies, and you can just click start. And there we go. So it's the same sort of thing if you want to do killing. You would again go to shell empty presets, plasma, and Spooky Plasma Advanced. But this time, instead of selecting your biofeedback scan, let's say you have Lyme disease, you have Borrelia, you would just type in Borrelia or Lyme disease, whatever. You could type in Bartonella, or if you have parasites, just type in parasites. And just, there's loads of programs come up, but you can just select the one that you feel drawn to and you want to do. So you maybe want to select this one, go to control, overwrite generator, select your generator, and there we go, Spooky Plasma Advanced, and your desired program has come up. And you just click start and you can see the time. So this one takes 36 minutes, but they all vary. So maybe you want to select your program depending on how much time you have. So maybe, you want to do this one because you've only got 15 minutes, or maybe you want a whole hour session, you would select this one. Slightly different for if you want to do some healing, but you would again go to show empty presets. You would select plasma, and then this time you would select spooky plasma entrainment and healing instead. Again, you would go to programs and you want to type in the program. So what do you want to heal? Maybe you have back pain, back pain, backache. Yes, you might want to select backache. Or you could select any, detoxing, override generator, select the generator. And there we go, spooky plasma entrainment and healing with your desired program. You can do more than one program, so you might have time to do that one, and then you also want to do bones stimulate healing. And there we go, you can see both of the programs, and it's now 50 minutes. Cool, so we can also do, so there's a heal option here, select heal, plasma, and then you've got two programs here. So you've either got the essential micronutrients or you've got the healing and regeneration. So maybe one day you feel like you want to do this. It's only recommended to do one per day. So don't run this 3 times a day because you feel like you're mineral deficient. Doesn't work like that. Just use it once a day. Or you might decide to do the healing and regeneration if that's what you're trying to focus on, is healing. We've also got miscellaneous. Select plasma, and you've just got a bunch of different programs here. It just, it's no different from going to the programs and typing in the program, but so maybe you have an ear infection and you want to select ear infection. You can see that the programs are already loaded here for you. So if you're a beginner and you have parasites, you don't really know where to begin, this is a good option just to go to miscellaneous and select maybe parasites 1 of 2, and you've got a whole bunch of programs here. So you just go straight to control, override generator, select the generator. And you can see here, parasites 1 of 5 and the programs. So you've got egg of worms, tapeworm, all of these different options. It does say that it's an estimated total run of 7 hours. So if you are new to this, or just in general, actually, you want to be running it an hour, 2 hours a day. You don't want to be really doing 7 hours. You might have an intense reaction, or you might get frequency fatigue. So you maybe just want to split it up into different days. So maybe the first day you want to do 2 hours of this, and then maybe you get to 440 after the 2 hours. You would just pause it and then come back the next day and restart. Perfect. Okay, so we've also got frequency sweeps, plasma, and then you would just select the program you want to use. That's a whole different presentation, so but the options there. We've also got the Modulins and Lyme protocol. So if you select Modulins and Lyme v3.0, and then select plasma. You can also do the Modulins and Lyme protocol with contact or remote, coil, laser, scalar. I actually personally, when I first got my machine, I did it with only contact, and I found that was pretty strong. But if you want the extra power, then plasma is acceptable. I do run it. So what I do now that I'm healthy, I do sometimes run it on remote. I usually just do detox on remote because you want to keep your environment healthy, but I do like a bit of prevention with remote, and I'll just run that when I'm busy with work, and I think it worked. I think remote works incredibly, but again, yeah, plasma is super strong. So click plasma, and then you've got all of these different options, about 83 presets. And you want to start in order. So we would start with metals and chemicals, selecting metals and chemicals, going to control, override generator, selecting the generator, and here you can see metals and chemicals, and you've got all of the programs already loaded, and you just click start. This one is 2 hours 49, so again, it's up to you, you know, if you want to break that up into two, so do half of it one day, half of it the next day, that's fine. I think I did, you know, I separated it into like 5 days at first when I was really ill. So again, you would just then, once you've finished that, you would go on to the next program, and so on and so forth. Once you get to viruses, something slightly different happens. You can see your scan results. So you might want to replace your scan results with your, so this is just an empty program, there's nothing on it. It's there to remind you to add in your biofeedback scan results instead. So you've got your biofeedback scan results now, but maybe you don't, you're not doing biofeedback scan, you can just ignore that. Yeah, so basically then just going down the whole list until you get to the end, and once you've got to the end, you can go back up and do it all again. And then obviously we've got the cancer preset, so you would select plasma, and then you've got the cancer preset here. And this includes, so this preset holds frequencies for cancer, and it includes 2 selected DNA frequencies, which targets all known types of cancer. So no matter what type of cancer you've got, you can run this frequency. And it says here, run for as long as possible, but it's also recommended to use detox programs in remote with other generators, because you will be doing a lot of killing with this. So all you would need to do is just select that, and you can see the frequencies are already loaded. And there we go. But again, you know, if that's just one preset, you can also use the advanced preset, which is stronger, best used with the Phanotron tube, or the cancer sweep overnight. But if you, for example, you want to specifically target your breast cancer, you would go to shell empty presets, plasma, spooky plasma advanced, or spooky central advanced, depending on what it says for you. And you would say you have breast cancer, you would type in breast cancer. And you can see a preset here. So you would select breast cancer, or maybe you have lung cancer, you could select the lung cancer. And then you would just go to control, override generator, select your generator, and you can see here spooky plasma advanced with breast cancer, and that works with, you know, selecting lung cancer, ovarian cancer, any type of cancer, and you would do it that way. Perfect. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to be talking about for now. I think I've covered everything I want to. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. Okay, so how to know if your central and your plasma is working. So the Phanotron and the straight tube, so whatever tube you're using, it should light up and it should flash this pinky purpley color, and it should flash it, and that's how you know it's working, basically. If it doesn't flash, you might want to use the voltage detector that comes with the central and the plasma to see if there's a fault with the wires, with the tubes, with the, you know, with the plug sockets or something, and you would just use the voltage detector on the white wires and see if the voltage detector lights up. There's videos on that on YouTube if you type in Spooky2 voltage checks or something like that on their website, you'll see how to do that. So when a program is running, one of the modulation and the LED lights on the Spooky Central and Plasma should blink, and the other one should be lit stable. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So there's two lights here. One of the lights should be blinking, flashing, and one should just be lit stably. And if they're both not lit, then you know there's a fault, maybe with the generator or the wires. So yes, they should be lit. And you can sort of see in the picture here, this pinky colour, that's what should be flashing when it's working. So as I mentioned before, and I showed you the picture before, you want to make sure the white high voltage wires, the tube and the Spooky Central are as far away as possible from the generator and the computer and the power source. So in two different power sources. If the cable or tube are too close, the generator might lock up and not work. Just reiterating that, because that happened to me. And you can't figure out why it's not working. It could also be a hardware connection fault. So potentially one of your wires is loose, or you've not maybe turned on your power supply. It could be a software operation fault. So you might be accidentally selecting the wrong preset. You might be accidentally selecting contact mode instead of plasma. So just double check that you're selecting the right things. And Spooky Central has an operating frequency range, and if this range is exceeded, the tube won't light anymore. So the Phanotron versus the straight tube, which one should you go for? So the straight tube was actually the first tube invented by Spooky2, but the Phanotron tube was the first one invented by Royal Raymond Rife. The straight tube is about 400 millimeters long, and it has polycarbonate tubing, whereas the Phanotron tube, it has a broader operating frequency range, and the tubing is borosilicate, which is known as cooking glass, so it makes it really tough and safe, and it can survive extreme heats and not crack. The gas used in the straight tube is argon, and the gas used in the Phanotron is helium. And helium is actually said to be the best gas for a plasma tube. The Phanotron tube electrodes are angled to provide focused signals for localized treatment. So what does that mean? It means that it's ideal for concentrated energy on a given issue. So if you have localized cancer, say you have breast cancer, you might want to go for the Phanotron. But if you have metastasized cancer, so your cancer is spread to your liver, it's maybe spread to your foot, or you've got Lyme disease, a whole body, so pathogens that are throughout the body, you would then want to use the straight tube. So Phanotron for a more localized lung cancer, for example, and straight tube for a more metastasized cancer or pathogens that have spread throughout the body. Okay, so near field and far field. So when you're using your tube, you get near field and far field. Near field is when it's within 60 feet, it's within 20 meters. So you might be holding the tube, or it might be next to you. And far field is when it goes beyond that 60 feet, it goes beyond the 20 meters. So maybe it's in another room. And you get treatment either way. You're getting treatment from near field and far field. So if you're sleeping at night and your plasma tube is in another room, you're still getting treatment, because far fields can actually be detected up to 60 meters away and even through thick walls. I've just put, it's effective enough to penetrate walls that are not covered with metal foil lining and clear mold from a home. And that's how powerful far field is. But, if you are choosing to kill mold in your home with your plasma, just be wary, because killing mold releases mycotoxins, and mycotoxins are what make us sick. It's not actually the mold itself, it's the mycotoxins. So if you're doing that, you probably don't want to be in your home. You want to maybe make sure that someone's there opening the windows, airing it out, but not you, and come back once that process is complete. So yeah, near field is obviously more effective. When I use mine, I sort of hold it close to my body in a diagonal position. Or, you know, you can put it next to you. That's fine. When I would be using it, my boyfriend would also receive the treatment. He would be sat sort of on the sofa, but like not next to me, a bit apart from me, and he would still get a really strong treatment from it. So it works strong. So frequency wobble. So it's safe, and it's also recommended to use frequency wobble, not the amplitude wobble. So not this one, just the frequency wobble here. Because this gives you more chance of getting the correct frequency to kill the pathogens, because and also for the pathogens not to become resistant to the frequency. If you are doing a frequency wobble, aim to keep the frequency low. So you would select settings. You would then select frequency wobble, so triangle, as shown here. And then you would type in 0.025% and 16 steps. And it would be the same thing of going to control, override generator, selecting the generator, and go. And that's obviously once you've selected your preset and your program. But generally you don't need to use frequency wobble. That's just an additional option. You don't need to use it because plasma presets already come with a good setting. So just a couple of things to avoid when using plasma. If you suffer from impaired liver or kidney functions, you need to just have caution. Avoid using while pregnant, and this goes for the contact and the most modes. Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze. No, it's gone. Don't operate while you're driving or using dangerous machinery. Keep out of reach of children. If you feel nauseous, faint, dizzy, if you have any flu-like symptoms, if you've got headaches, after using Spooky2 frequencies, you need to drink more water and potentially shorten your Spooky2 session time. So as I mentioned before, I went straight in with killing without doing any healing and detoxing, and I got major headaches, just feeling really hungover without drinking. And that's how I knew that I needed to A, do more detoxing instead of killing, and B, shorten my my usage time. I went from using it for about 3 hours in one go to about 20 minutes when I first began, because that's all I could handle without these die-off reactions. And you might think, oh well, I feel nauseous and I've got a headache, so that must mean that something's working. Well, yes, it is working, but it's not good because it means that you're killing off too much than your body can handle. You need to be detoxing, getting out the toxins. Otherwise, they'll just recirculate. They'll be reabsorbed into your bloodstream and they'll recirculate. That's not good. So take it at a slow pace. Because no electricity is passed into the body when you're using your central, the system should have no bad effect on the electrical or mechanical components of pacemakers or internal defibrillators. But as always, when you're using frequencies, just proceed with care and caution. And if you're not sure, consult a medical professional. If you do suffer from heart problems, or you wear a pacemaker or other electrical implant, you should never attach the electrodes or PEMF coils to the Spooky2 system. So don't use electrodes or PEMF coils, but you can use remote mode, central plasma, or the ultrasonic. In general, it's best to experiment with the Spooky2 before about 5 o'clock. So if you're a beginner and you're just getting going, try and experiment with it before 5 p.m. because it can have a bit of an excitatory effect on human cells, which might affect your sleep. So if you do it, let's say for the first time ever at 9 o'clock at night for an hour, you might find that you have trouble sleeping. So yeah, just experiment before that time. But there's specific programs for overnight use, so that's fine to use while sleeping and late at night. Adequate hydration will produce better results. It's best to drink 1 to 2 litres of water daily, half of it before noon, so you're not up all night on the toilet. So that is the end of my presentation. I've just put my details here. My website's currently down at the minute. I'm just currently editing it. I've got my Instagram here. This is my professional account. If you want to just message me on there, my phone number and my email if you have any questions to ask me. And then if you want to contact Spooky2, we have the website here and support email. And that is the end of my presentation.